Hello everyone, this is Entity Framework Core 3.1 Oracle Database Part 2, where we continue our application. So let's start the application. Oh, let me remove this breakpoint. Let's go to employees. Okay, everything is firing up just fine. Locations, job history, countries. Let's try to add a new employee. So your first name, hiring date, salary 100,000, commission percentage 0.25, and let's try proper text, create. Okay, we are running into a problem. Employee ID cannot have the value of null. Let's see where the problem is. Let's look at the database. Employee ID, it's a number. Let's look at data. Let's look at departments. Department ID is a primary key. Columns, primary key. Constraints, data. Let's look at employee again. So it looks like, from what I see here, the employee ID, it's a column just like the first name, last name, email. So this is the employee ID is given by the company. Just it has to be filled out, just like the email, phone number, and this cannot be null. So it's null because the application it's not taking the value. So let's go to the views, employees, index. Let's go to index. So it's missing the employee ID. Let's make it visible. Let's make this visible. Employee ID. Okay, and let's go to here too. So there was the header, and this is the field. Employee ID. Employee ID. Okay, so in create, it's also missing. Employee ID, it's also missing. So let's add it. Let's add it. Employee ID. Control copy, control paste. Control paste, employee ID. Okay, let's see now if it's working or not. So we add it let's add it to the detail also. A column for let's control copy, control paste, in detail employee ID, field was missing. Okay, so let's save the application, edit, employee ID is also missing, employee ID, let's add employee ID, first name, employee ID, field for employee ID. Let's save it and let's run it again. So we have the index. Let's run it again and see what we get. Page bigger. Employees. Okay, edit. Employee ID 206. Back to list. Details. We see the employee ID. Back to list. Let's create a new employee, and this time we're going to create let's choose an ID. See, we have to choose an ID which is not in the database. Let's choose 2. Let's choose 2, and then Tom Moore. So this was missing. We got the error because this was null. It has to be provided. So in hiring date we put that. And add as assistant, salary $100,000, commission 0.1. Let's choose another one and create. There you go. So we added successfully Tom Moore. This is right here. This is the new employee that we added. This is so we get edit. This is Tom Moore. This is just edit. Back to list. So let's move on and try to add pagination. Next. Okay, so we're going to implement the paging now and go back, manage to get packages. And we're gonna, for paging, we're gonna use reflection, IT, MVC, paging. This one, we're gonna use the latest. Install. Accept. Okay. Close out of this window. So in employees controller, we go to employees controller, and in index we add string filter equal empty string int page equal 1, and we have to add this coding right here. I have the code already made, but I'm going to copy and paste so the video doesn't take too long. So we're basically reading the data just like before. I put it in a different, and I put order by because we need an iOrderable for paging list, and we need to add a namespace for routing. So if the filter provided is not empty string, then we take this value right here, where, and we add this where clause, where in this case I put first name equal filter. We can put their name contains filter. We can do this. Contains filter. Let's see if it works. So this is the code for pagination. It helps with pagination, and then the other change that we need to do is in index, employees index. Going back to employee index, employees index. We need to add this code at the top of the page. So this model is not good for us. We need to change it. And this, so the paging list takes a model of employee. So right now we're working with, see where is this error coming from? This is different. This is a different namespace. This, we have to take this from our namespace. You have to take this namespace and put it over here. Okay, and next we need to add a navigation. Next we add navigation under the create new. This is the code for a paging list, and we also need to provide a form for input for the filter. I have the code ready, and I'm gonna put it here so you can also look at it and copy it. This is the code right here, and we need to put at the bottom of the page, we need to add this code. Okay, so this is what we had before, and now this is changed to this. Let's move the page back to where it was, and let me put a pause here. In startup page, we need to add the following code. In configure services, we need to add a service for pagination, and this is going to be the code for the pagination, and we add the bootstrap CSS to this view. Okay, so let's go back to our controller, employee controller. I changed the page from 10 to 7, and let's run again. Pagination. Let's go back to employees. There we have it. Nice pagination using Bootstrap 4. Let's see here. Let's try to pull up James. Employees that contain first name Nancy, N-A, N, letter N. How about J? Okay, so now we filter by J, by letter J. First name contains J, and now we have 3 pages with employees that have J. So let's paginate through them. So only 3 pages that contain J. And J is persisted. Notice that J is persisted in the search field. And as soon as we clear it out and hit search again, we go back to 16 pages. We had it. Let's try D, letter D. We have 2 pages with letter D. First name letter D. We see the Donald Douglas, and letter D is persisting in the search field. And this is due, let me stop. This is due to this. The model takes the filter as it's one of its parameters. This is what is persisting. Okay, so one last item I want to touch. When we run the application and when we display the employees, I don't like the way the header look. So we run employees, and I don't like how these columns, the column header, they look just unprofessional. So let's stop the application. We want to make it look nice. We go to the employee model, and we need to add column annotations. So kind of like this, and I'm going to add for all the columns. I'm going to copy and paste each one. So it's going to take too much time. So since I have the code already in place, all you have to do is just add this at the top, display name, and put whatever name you want it to display. So go to the department ID. So there we have it. So I'm gonna scroll through the code so you can take a look at it. Okay, so this is the display name I want to use for each column, and I'm using this inside the model, employee model. So let's run again. Employees. Okay, so this one looks a lot more professional. So this way it looks much nicer. Probably we need to do, oh, they already applied, they're applying over here too. So details, edit, employee ID, all the columns, the annotation that we added, commission percentage, the nice reflected each other. This is the end of part 2. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye bye.